Welcome back. Now, as the United States and the world reacts to Donald Trump's recent electoral victory, there's a blend of celebration, uncertainty, and curiosity in the air. With leaders from across the globe sending their congratulations, it's clear that Trump's return will have ripple effects not only within the US, but also on the global stage. Many are wondering how his policies will shape the American experience, particularly for immigrants, and what this means for the future of US alliances and international relations. Now, to help us unpack the national and global responses and to give us insight into what lies ahead is Fillemon Shikomba, a seasoned expert in U.S. politics and global affairs. Fillemon, good evening and welcome to the Daily Roundup.
Good evening, Nina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to see you. It's
Good.
been a while.
It has been. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Fillemon, I want to start with the atmosphere in the U.S. How would you describe the general mood across the country right now following Trump's win?
Uh, there is a lot of confusion in the air, I must say, especially in New York, which is predominantly a democratic state. There's a lot of uncertainty and fear, and I feel that there's so much tension in the atmosphere.
What do you think, Fillemon, were the main factors that contributed to Trump's victory? And of course, on the other side of the coin, what challenges might have worked against Kamala?
Um, the American politics is so unpredictable. What I would say contributed to Trump's victory is the short time period that Kamala had to prepare for the elections, but also the manner in which she ascended to the ballot. She was endorsed by the current president, and then she did not necessarily go through the former usual process of the electorate. And I think that has led to a lot of uncertainty among the voters and has affected her chances, but also because she did not really get a chance to engage with the voters for a very long time. This is something that Trump has been doing over the years. He's been on the ground for years campaigning, and Harris had only over 100 days to prepare for this moment. So I feel like Trump had a good chance because he's been preparing for this moment for a very long time. And feel like what might have hurt Harris's position is as well their foreign policy and the conflict in the Middle East, the way in which the Israel and Palestine conflict is being handled has affected the people's position. As we have seen, there's been a lot of protests at campaigns, and people expected that the U.S. would address the issue in Palestine in a much more progressive manner, but it has not happened. It has led to a lot of people dying, and I think a lot of Americans were not happy with that. So they felt like Trump might be able to address the issue in a much more different way.
Yeah, yeah. As Trump gets to step back into office now, which areas do you think, he might prioritize first?
That is very interesting. I'm very concerned because I feel like his main priority right now is to target the immigrants because he's been very, intentional on the mass deportation, for example. And as a human rights professional, I am very concerned on Trump's radical position on the immigrants. We've seen what happened in his previous administration, where he initiated travel bans, where a lot of people were prevented from coming to the U.S. more especially because of their faith. The people from predominantly Muslim countries were prevented from coming to the U.S. So what I would say his main priority right now will be ensuring that the immigrants go back to their countries, and that is quite concerning. It has been on top of his priorities for a very long time, and I think he's not going to hesitate because he presented himself as a president who puts America first in a sense that he wants to remove uh, outsiders from the U.S.
Not forgetting that healthcare
So
tax
I feel like the
reform.
issue of immigration. Oh,
Sorry.
okay. So I feel like the issue of immigration will be top of his car. I mean, his his agenda.
Yeah, yeah.
You can go ahead, Nina.
I was saying, of course, healthcare tax reform and economic policies were also central issues to him the last time he ran office. Which of Trump's policy positions in these areas do you expect will have the biggest impact this term?
What I would say would have a bigger impact right now is Trump is aspiring to give tax cuts for to billionaires. You know, he's a billionaire himself, and I feel like his tax position will definitely advantage the richest people, and then it will disadvantage the minorities. We've seen why the people like Elon Musk, who's the richest man in the world, are very intentional with their support for Trump because he's promised to give them tax breaks. So I think the issue of tax is definitely going to play in his priorities. He's been very intentional with that as well. When it comes to healthcare, he has been very direct that he wants to undo the Obamacare, which basically gives people makes healthcare affordable for the general public. And I think that he's going to reverse that, and it's going to be so hard because he has absolute power now. He has total control of the Senate and the House. So Trump is basically unstoppable as it is.
Lastly, just looking at the bigger picture, Philemon, what key areas do you think not only Americans but the rest of the world should be paying closest attention to as Trump begins his term?
What I would say, what I've picked up today, especially today, that the vast majority of the global leaders, especially in the space that I work in, the human rights space, everybody's concerned on Trump's position, especially on women's rights and also minority rights, like the LGBTQ rights, and also his position on climate change. We've seen how he's withdrawn from climate change treaties in the past. And also the issue in Ukraine. We've seen that Trump does not necessarily support the current position of the US on the war in Ukraine. So he's very likely to withdraw the American support to the people of Ukraine, which will give Russia more power to basically invade Ukraine. And we're also seeing that Trump has been very intentional when it comes to Israel. His support for Israel is unwavering. So we see that he's going to double down on supporting Israel. We've seen like in the past, Trump has actually played a role in ensuring that the American embassy was moved to Jerusalem. He's pro-Israel to a very concerning extent. So I feel like we are going to look at issues concerning human rights, immigration, climate change. He is going to reverse and undo a lot of progress. And that is what is going to concern a lot of international leaders, especially when it comes to climate change policies. We've seen the devastation of climate change with the storm in Spain, and also the storm that has devastated lives in the U.S. Last month. So he does not acknowledge the seriousness of climate change. And he also does not understand the urgency of us to move towards renewable energy, which is going to really affect the global progress, especially in the area of climate change.
Well, Philemon, we unfortunately are out of time, but before I let you go, your final remarks or words concerning this matter?
What I would like to speak on that we have to embrace Trump's leadership, but also I'll implore that we, especially global leaders, should pay attention to, you know, spaces in which they can support democracy. We've seen that Trump has not been a pro-democracy for a very long time, and if we are going to improve the state of affairs, whether it's the judicial leaders, the media, global initiative on human rights, it is now time for us to step up and step in and be intentional with our support to minority people, to immigrants. There are international organizations that support minority groups. I think this is now where we come in and collaborate and ensure that we provide protections to people that need help the most. People do not just move to countries, they moved here because of war and other challenges that are inflicted on them. They are looking for a new pathway to opportunities, and America has provided a journey to people to opportunities for a very long time. And I think what we should be doing is ensuring that we hold leaders accountable. And that as much as we should support his presidency, we should be open to criticizing it and making sure that he's accountable and he does not, depart from upholding democracy.
Well, thank you so much for your sentiments this evening. It was lovely speaking to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Nina. Have a wonderful rest of the evening.
That was Fillemon Shikomba speaking to us there. We're going to take a very brief break. When we return, we have some more conversation lined up here on the Daily Roundup.